The stars watched silently as Earth turned in the black sea of space. From far away, it looked small, weak, unprotected. To the alien eyes watching from hidden places, Earth was nothing more than a late child in the galaxy, still crawling, still learning, still burning its skies with smoke. But looks can lie. Beneath the clouds, in the last century of old Earth, something was changing. For thousands of years, humans had fought each other, wars of nations, wars of faith, wars of greed. Every empire rose and fell, every victory left scars. Twice, humanity almost ended itself with fire. The aliens who studied them shook their heads, believing this violent species would never last long enough to reach the stars. And yet, humans endured. They always endured. By the middle of the 21st century, the wars grew so deadly that humanity had no choice but to unite or die. Great cities burned, seas swallowed coastlines, and the world cried out for survival. Slowly, unwillingly, nations lowered their flags and raised a single one. The United Earth Alliance was born, not from hope, but from desperation. Peace did not come easily. Old grudges still boiled. But the new leaders understood one truth. If humanity fought itself again, there would be no one left to fight at all. So instead of building weapons against each other, they built weapons for something else, something bigger. Secret projects began in hidden labs. In deserts, massive railguns rose like black spears, able to fire metal faster than any missile. In the oceans, silent submarines carried drones that could strike from beneath the waves. On the moon, workers built strange towers powered by fusion, sending energy to orbit. And deep under Antarctica, scientists tested something even more dangerous, a prototype engine that bent space itself. It was not perfection. It was survival. What the people of Earth did not know was that they were not alone. Far beyond the solar system, their radio signals had traveled for decades, bouncing across the stars. Old empires heard them. Songs, speeches, broadcasts, even cries of war. To the ancient races of the galaxy, humans sounded loud, proud, and foolish. One empire, the Varans, laughed louder than all. The Varans were old, powerful, and cruel. Their fleet stretched across star systems. Their weapons had shattered planets. To them, Earth was nothing more than a child yelling in the dark. They marked it on their star maps with a single word, target. The aliens did not come yet. They wanted to watch first. They wanted to see how long it would take before humans destroyed themselves. But what they saw was something unexpected. Instead of breaking, humans grew harder. Instead of falling, they climbed higher. Year by year, the United Earth Alliance pushed forward. The first permanent city on Mars rose under glass domes. Ships with fusion drives carried explorers past Jupiter. Massive stations were built in orbit, filled with green farms and spinning gravity wheels. And then came the test that shook the galaxy. On a quiet night, the railgun platform named Thunderstrike went online above Earth. To most citizens, it was just another military project, another weapon to protect the planet. But when it fired its first shot, the power was terrifying. A solid slug of tungsten metal shot across the sky at a fraction of light speed, punching a hole straight through an asteroid the size of a mountain. The asteroid split apart like paper. The Varan spies hiding in nearby systems reported what they saw. Their leaders laughed at first, calling it luck, calling it a trick. But in their hearts, a seed of unease was planted. These humans, these latecomers, were not following the old path of other young species. They were moving too fast. Back on Earth, the people only celebrated. They thought the railgun was for defense, for safety, for the future. They had no idea who was watching. The silence in space grew heavy. Something stirred in the darkness. The Varan Empire decided it would not wait much longer. If Earth was not crushed now, it might grow into something dangerous. But even the Varans did not understand one truth about humans. When pushed to the edge, when threatened with death, humans did not bow. They fought. They adapted. They became something greater than anyone expected. The century was ending. The stars were calling. And for the first time, humanity was no longer looking at the heavens with fear. They were preparing to claim them. Yet, out in the black void, alien warships began to turn their engines toward Earth. Silent, waiting, watching. The invasion had not yet begun, but the shadow of it already fell across the blue planet. And when it came, nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The first alien ship entered the solar system on a quiet day. There were no warnings, no alarms, no explosions in the sky. The ship simply appeared, sliding out of a fold in space near the orbit of Saturn. It was enormous, larger than any human city, shaped like a dark blade. Its hull shimmered with strange symbols, glowing with a cold light. To the human telescopes watching from far away, it looked like a piece of night itself had broken free and begun to move. At first, scientists were speechless. Some thought it was a mistake, maybe an asteroid with strange reflections. But then it toned. It moved with purpose. Its engines burned with a color no human eye had ever seen before. The world froze. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries. People expected messages of peace, shining gifts of knowledge, or friendly explorers stepping out to shake hands. But the ship that came to them carried no smile, no hand of friendship. It carried silence. And silence can be more terrifying than war. For 3 days, the alien ship hovered beyond Saturn, sending no signal. Every telescope on Earth was aimed at it. Every leader in the United Earth Alliance held secret meetings. Some wanted to reach out. Others warned to wait. A few whispered what everyone feared. What if they are here to conquer? On the 4th day, the silence ended. A message came, broadcast on every frequency at once. It was not soft, not gentle. The voice was harsh, metallic, layered with tones that seemed to scratch the mind. But the words were clear. We are the Varan Empire. You have been observed. You have been judged. Surrender your world. Surrender your weapons. Surrender your future, or be erased. The world went cold. Billions watched as the translation spread across screens. Children cried. Families prayed. Soldiers tightened their fists. For a moment, it felt as if the whole planet was standing still. The leaders of Earth gathered in secret chambers. Some wanted to respond with peace. Others demanded to prepare for war. The truth was simple. Humanity was not ready for a fight against something so vast. Their first true starship was still only a prototype. Their railguns, powerful as they were, had never been tested against alien shields. But surrender? That word had no place in human history. The United Earth Alliance sent a reply. A short one. We will not bow. The aliens answered with laughter. Not human laughter, but something far worse, an echoing sound that filled the airwaves, sharp and cruel. They thought Earth was foolish. They thought this little planet was trying to challenge an empire that had ruled the stars for thousands of years. And then the first battle began. The Varan ship moved from Saturn toward Earth, slow but unstoppable. Its dark shape crossed the orbits of the planets, each day bringing it closer. On Earth, people panicked. Governments declared martial law. Cities built bunkers. But in orbit, hidden from the public, humanity prepared something else. The orbital railgun platform Thunderstrike was ready. Its crew waited in silence, staring at the alien ship as it approached. They knew their weapon might not work. They knew they might die in seconds. But they also knew this. If humans did nothing, Earth would fall without a fight. When the alien ship crossed Jupiter's orbit, the order was given. Thunderstrike fired. The shot was a metal slug, nothing more, a cylinder of tungsten the size of a car, launched at a fraction of light speed. No explosion, no flame, no noise. Just a piece of metal moving faster than anything humans had ever built. It struck the Varan warship in the side. For one terrifying second, nothing happened. The world held its breath. Then the ship's shield cracked. Light burst across space as the alien barrier shattered. The slug punched through the hull, tearing a hole wider than a building. The great warship trembled, engines flickering. Alarms echoed through alien decks. Entire sections of the ship fell silent. On Earth, cheers erupted. Humanity had drawn blood. For the first time in history, an alien ship had been struck down by human hands. But victory did not last. The Varan ship toned, its weapons glowing with power. Beams of energy lashed out, destroying satellites, tearing apart human stations. The Thunderstrike platform was struck, half of it burning in orbit. Its crew screamed as fire spread. Systems failed, and pieces of the station broke away into the void. Earth watched in horror. The first shot had been a triumph. The counterattack was a nightmare. The Varen spoke again, their voices filled with anger now. You are stubborn. You are violent. Then you will be broken. Cities on Earth braced for impact. Fleets of drones scrambled. Soldiers prepared for war. Humanity had survived itself for centuries. Now it had to survive something far worse. The first contact was over. The first war had begun. The galaxy had seen many wars. Empires rose and fell. Star systems burned, and entire species vanished. To most alien races, war was nothing new. But the war that began around Earth was different. It should have been simple. One great Varen ship against a young, untested species. A single strike, a quick surrender, a new world added to their empire. That was how it always worked. But humans were not like the others. The first railgun shot had shocked the galaxy. The news spread faster than light through hidden channels. Alien merchants, spies, and travelers whispered to each other in fear. The humans damaged a Varen battleship. Most did not believe it. Those who did waited for the humans to be crushed. Instead, the war dragged on. The Varen ship, though wounded, unleashed its fury. Satellites burned, space stations crumbled, and the skies of Earth lit up with falling fire. Cities screamed as orbital debris crashed into the oceans and deserts. Millions died in those first days. But Earth did not surrender. Even as flames spread, humanity fought back. Old fighter jets were launched into orbit, modified with rockets meant for deep space. Drones swarmed like hornets, throwing themselves against alien shields. On the moon, hidden bases opened fire with missiles, forcing the Varen ship to waste energy blocking every strike. The aliens called humans reckless. The humans called it survival. In underground bunkers, commanders made choices no one thought possible. Asteroids were redirected with engines, turned into weapons. Civilian ships were refitted with cannons, their crews volunteers who knew they might never return. AI-controlled drones swarmed in the blackness, programmed to strike from the shadows and explode on impact. It was not clean. It was not noble. But it worked. The Varen ship began to weaken. Piece by piece, system by system, the alien giant lost strength. And in the chaos, humanity captured something precious. One of the Varen escort crafts, smaller than the main ship but still deadly, was forced down near Mars after a desperate ambush. Its crew was killed in the crash, but its technology survived. For the first time in history, human hands touched alien machines. The discovery was terrifying and wonderful. Engineers tore the wreck apart, studying its drives, its weapons, its strange energy cores. They understood little, but even small pieces changed everything. Shield technology, propulsion secrets, new alloys, all of it gave humanity hope. If they could learn fast enough, maybe they could stand against the Empire. But hope came at a cost. The Varens, enraged by their losses, sent reinforcements. More ships bent space and arrived in the solar system, dark blades against the stars. Each one carried weapons strong enough to destroy a continent. Humanity had no chance of matching their numbers. Yet still, the war continued. Guerrilla tactics became the weapon of choice. Human fleets hid inside asteroid belts, ambushing passing ships. On the icy moons of Jupiter, bases popped up and vanished overnight, launching attacks before disappearing again. Every battle cost lives, but every victory cost a Varen something too. The galaxy, watching in silence, began to whisper a new name for humans, the Unbroken. For the first time in centuries, the Varen Empire faced an enemy that would not bow, would not run, would not stop. The Empire's commanders grew restless. They asked themselves, why does this weak species fight like this? Why do they risk everything for a hopeless war? The answer was simple. Humans had lived with struggle since the beginning of their history. Every empire they built came from ashes. Every victory was born from loss. To them, war was not just survival. It was part of who they were. Even when Earth itself burned, even when the skies rained fire, humanity refused to fall. Families dug into shelters, rebuilt their homes, and still sent their children to learn, to dream, to plan for tomorrow. Soldiers died, but more stepped forward. The spirit of survival burned hotter than any alien weapon. By the end of the first year, the Varen should have won. Instead, they were bleeding. One battleship destroyed, 2 damaged, escorts lost, Supply lines stretched thin. The humans were still alive. Other alien races took notice. Some watched with fear, some with interest, a few, quietly, with admiration. No young species had ever fought the Varens like this. It was as if humanity had torn a page out of the galaxy's book and written their own story with fire and steel. But stories are not without cost. Earth was scarred. Billions had died. Oceans boiled from orbital strikes. Forests burned black, and great cities became ruins. Yet among the rubble, survivors raised flags. They swore vengeance. They swore humanity would not die in silence. The war nobody expected had begun, and it was far from over. The Varens sent more fleets. Humanity built more weapons. Each side prepared for the next stage, knowing the battles ahead would decide more than just one planet's fate. In the shadows of space, a question echoed through every mind, human and alien alike. If humanity could fight this hard now, what would it become once they reached the stars? The war had scarred Earth. Skies were gray with smoke. Oceans carried the wreckage of fallen satellites. Cities lay in ruins, their streets broken and burned. For many, it seemed the world itself had died. But humans did not look at the ruins with despair alone. They looked with fire in their eyes. Because even in the ashes, they had gained something new, alien technology. The captured Varen craft near Mars was more than a prize. It was a doorway. For months, engineers, scientists, and soldiers worked together in hidden bases. They studied its engines, its strange glowing crystals, its shield emitters that bent light like water. At first, they understood almost nothing. The machines were too advanced, the systems too alien. But humans had always been good at one thing, learning under pressure. Piece by piece, the secrets opened. The first breakthrough came from its engine. Human scientists could not copy it, but they could adapt it. By combining alien designs with human fusion drives, they created something new, a faster-than-light engine, rough and dangerous, but real. The second breakthrough came from its weapons. The Varen cannons used energy humans had never seen. But when paired with railgun tech, the result was devastating. Hybrid weapons were built, firing slugs wrapped in alien plasma. And the third breakthrough, the most important, came from its shields. Humanity learned how to project barriers of energy, not perfect, but enough to hold against enemy fire for a few seconds longer. Those seconds meant survival. The United Earth Alliance announced what many thought impossible. Humanity would build its first fleet of starships. They called them Starfarers. The first ship was forged in orbit above the moon. Its name was Valiant. It was not beautiful. It was jagged, rough, a patchwork of human steel and alien alloys. But when it powered up, its engines burning brighter than the stars behind it, the people of Earth cheered. One ship became 3. 3 became 10. Soon, the first human fleet stood ready, orbiting Earth like a shield. They were not large compared to the Varens, but they were something new. They were a symbol that humanity would not only defend but also strike back. Life on Earth began to change. Colonies grew stronger. On Mars, domes expanded into cities. On Europa, the icy crust was drilled to reach water beneath, powering new industries. Asteroid belts became bases, their hollowed rocks hiding weapons and factories. Humanity was no longer tied to one fragile planet. They had become a people of many worlds. But hope was never without danger. The Varens watched in silence, gathering their fleets. They underestimated humans before, and they paid for it. Now they prepared for total war. To them, humans were not a young species anymore. They were a threat. Whispers spread through the galaxy. Other alien empires argued in their councils. Some said the humans should be crushed quickly. Others warned that fighting them would only make them stronger. A few whispered something dangerous. Perhaps it is better to ally with them than to fight them. But humanity did not wait for the galaxy to decide. The new fleet took its first mission beyond the solar system. Valiant and its sister ships bent space, their engines tearing through the void. And for the first time in history, humans set foot on another star. The system they reached was empty, a barren sun with lifeless rocks. But to humanity, it was everything. It proved they were no longer trapped in their cradle. The stars were now open. And with that step came a vow. The United Earth Alliance broadcast a message, not just to their people but to the galaxy. We are humanity. We are not prey. We are not slaves. We are starfarers, and we are coming. The message spread like wildfire. Across alien networks, in secret channels, in hidden colonies, beings of every race heard it. Some trembled, some laughed, but all of them listened. On Earth, survivors stood on ruined streets and looked at the night sky with pride. Children pointed at the stars, knowing their future was no longer bound to one planet. Soldiers swore not only to defend Earth, but to carry humanity's banner across the galaxy. Yet even in their triumph, a shadow lingered. The Varens would not forgive. They would not forget. Their fleets were gathering, greater than anything humanity could imagine. A storm was coming. But this time, humanity was ready. They had risen from the ashes. They had learned from their enemy. They had taken their first step into the stars. The galaxy had always seen humans as latecomers, as weak, as doomed. But now, for the first time, the galaxy whispered a different word when speaking of Earth. Starfarers. And behind that word was something even more dangerous than weapons or ships. Hope. Because hope, when held by humanity, had always been the spark that set empires on fire. The galaxy was vast, filled with countless species and countless wars. Empires had fought for ages, yet most battles followed the same pattern. Young races rose, grew too bold, and were crushed by the older, stronger powers. That was a natural order. But humanity was breaking that order. The humans had been tested by fire. Their home world was scarred, their skies torn, and their oceans poisoned by debris. And yet, instead of dying, they had spread outward. Colonies rose on Mars, the moons of Jupiter, and even the frozen edges of Neptune's orbit. Fleets of human warships now guarded those new homes. The Varen Empire expected them to hide in fear, to beg for peace. Instead, humans were striking back. Stories began to spread across the galaxy. A Varen patrol ship destroyed in the asteroid belt. A convoy ambush near Saturn, its cargo stolen by human raiders. A fleet of drones that moved like shadows, appearing and vanishing in the black void, leaving wreckage behind. To the great empires, these tales were disturbing. To the smaller species, those long oppressed, they were thrilling. The humans were proving what no one else had dared. The Varens could bleed. In secret, whispers spread in markets, on hidden stations, in the dark corners of alien cities. Traders spoke of a new name rising among the stars, the Unbroken. For the first time in memory, the galaxy was afraid of a young race. Inside the halls of the Galactic Concord, a council where the most powerful empires debated, the name humanity was spoken with unease. The Tharn, insectoid rulers of 100 worlds, argued, "Crush them now, before they grow stronger. They are reckless, violent. They will infect the galaxy with chaos." The Sci-fi, cold and calculating, disagreed. They adapt too quickly. Strike them, and you risk forging them into something greater. Better to let the Varens bleed themselves dry against them. And in the shadows, smaller races whispered with hope. If humans can stand, perhaps we can stand too. But the Varens did not want debate. They wanted vengeance. Their fleets gathered in silence, preparing for an assault that would burn not only Earth but every human colony. Humanity, however, was no longer waiting. The Valiant and its sister ships patrolled the solar system, now joined by newer vessels forged from hybrid designs. They were still weaker than the Varen giants, but humans fought differently. They fought with traps, with ambushes, with strategies no alien mind had expected. A saying spread among the Varen fleets: "Beware the human battlefield. They will make the rocks themselves fight you." And it was true. In the asteroid belt, entire fields were rigged with explosives, detonating when enemy ships passed through. In the ice fields of Europa, hidden cannons rose from beneath the crust, firing before vanishing again. Even derelict satellites, left floating as wreckage, were turned into weapons waiting to explode. The galaxy began to see humanity not as prey, not even as warriors, but as predators, hunters that turned every weakness into strength. But with every victory came a greater cost. The Varens responded with more force, destroying colonies, shattering stations, burning everything in their path. Each battle left thousands dead. Humanity paid with blood, but still they fought, and each loss only hardened their will. To the galaxy, it was terrifying. Other empires had fought the Varens and fallen in weeks. Humanity had lasted years. Humanity was winning battles. And most frightening of all, humanity was learning. Every captured fragment of alien tech became a new weapon. Every wrecked Varen engine was studied, copied, and improved. Humans were building ships faster than ever, no longer clumsy hybrids, but true warships, machines of steel, plasma, and fury. The galaxy began to whisper a warning. Do not fight humans. They always come back stronger. Alien admirals feared them. Alien rulers debated them. And in the darkness, even the Varens began to wonder, what if the species could not be destroyed? On Earth, the survivors carried that fear as fuel. Families rebuilt their cities, colonies raised their flags, and children grew up staring at the stars, vowing never to bow. Soldiers trained harder, engineers built faster, and leaders spoke with fire in their voices. The war was no longer about survival. It was about proving humanity's place in the galaxy. And as human fleets expanded, striking deeper into space, a new plan formed. The Varens thought they were the hunters, but soon they would learn otherwise. Because humanity was preparing not just to defend. Humanity was preparing to strike at the Empire itself. The galaxy held its breath. And in the silence between the stars, fear spread, not of the Varens, but of the humans who refused to die.